Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into this secret power struggle that's really shaping the future of war. It's an incredible story, right? You've got a tech company basically drawing a line in the sand, a military that absolutely refuses to take no for an answer, and this AI arms race that, well, it could change literally everything.
Just listen to that. We need them, and we need them now. I mean, that's a pretty stark admission from a senior Pentagon official, isn't it? It just pulls back the curtain on this high-stakes conflict between the US military and one of the world's top AI companies. And at the very heart of it all is a battle over a piece of tech that's so powerful, it's becoming absolutely essential on the battlefield.
So who's at the center of this firestorm? It's a company called Anthropic. You might know them as the creators of the really powerful AI model, Claude. And right now, they're facing this dramatic ultimatum from the US Department of Defense. And believe me, the stakes could not be higher.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. This is the fundamental disagreement. On one side, you've got Anthropic's red lines, the things they will not do. No mass surveillance of Americans and no fully autonomous weapons, period. But on the other side, the Pentagon's demand is brutally simple. They want all the locks removed for, and I quote, any lawful use. I mean, it's a total clash between ethical safeguards and what they see as military necessity.
And you know, the Pentagon isn't just politely asking here. They're using these, well, frankly, contradictory threats to get their way. Get this. Threat number one, they could classify Anthropic as a supply chain risk. Kind of weird, right? Because that would actually block the government from using Claude. Or threat number two, they could invoke the Defense Production Act, which would let them force the company to hand over its technology. It just goes to show you how determined the military is to get its hands on this AI.
Now, as you can imagine, legal experts are really sounding the alarm on this one. Think about it. They're talking about using a law that was designed for manufacturing, tanks and bullets, and using it to force a software company to remove its ethical safeguards. That is a massive and potentially really dangerous expansion of government power. So the big question is, why is the Pentagon pushing so incredibly hard? Well, it seems this whole standoff was kicked off by reports of Claude's alleged use in a recent and deadly military operation in Venezuela. And this is the key part. It was an operation that may have crossed Anthropic's own ethical lines. So according to one report, the AI was deployed through a partnership with Palantir Technologies. You probably know them. They're a huge defense data mining firm. Now, this is a really big deal because Anthropic's own policies, their own rules, explicitly prohibit using Claude for developing or deploying weapons at all.
And let's be clear, this wasn't some sterile digital exercise. We're talking about an operation that reportedly involved bombings in Caracas and, well, it allegedly resulted in 83 deaths. This just raises these huge, urgent questions about what role an AI played in these life or death decisions on the ground. And maybe more importantly, who's actually accountable for that?
Okay, so this whole standoff with Anthropic and the operation in Venezuela, they're really just flashpoints in a much, much larger transformation. See, AI isn't just coming to the battlefield anymore. In conflicts all around the world, it's already here, and it's creating a totally new global reality.
I mean, wow, that's a powerful and honestly a pretty chilling warning. Just think, the atomic bomb completely rewrote the rules of war in the 20th century. A lot of people are afraid that AI-enabled weapons are doing the exact same thing right now, in the 21st. And that could spark this uncontrollable, terrifying new arms race. And this isn't some far-off future thing. This shift is happening right now. In Ukraine, the former top commander described the battlefield as being locked in this brutal technological stalemate. He even compared it to World War I. And that deadlock, that's exactly what's pushing both sides into this desperate race for any kind of AI-driven edge they can possibly find. And this right here illustrates the new reality of that race perfectly. Drones, which are more and more guided by artificial intelligence, they're not just for surveillance anymore, not by a long shot. They are now reportedly responsible for a staggering 70%, that's 70, of all battlefield casualties in the Ukraine conflict. It's just incredible. And it's not just happening in Ukraine. In the conflict with Hamas, Israel's military has reportedly been using an AI system called Lavender, and this system is said to have identified tens of thousands of potential targets. I mean, think about the scale of that. It's dramatically accelerating the pace of the bombing campaign in Gaza.
So all of this brings us to the core dilemma, doesn't it? The central question of military AI. Is it a tool for precision that could actually reduce civilian harm, or is it this uncontrollable technology that's just inevitably going to lead to more and more escalation? One of the biggest risks here is something called the black box problem. And it's exactly what it sounds like. With a lot of these advanced AIs, we can see the data that goes in, and we can see the decision that comes out. But the process in the middle, how it got from A to B, is a complete mystery, even to the people who built it. So you have to ask, how can we possibly trust a machine with life and death choices if we don't really understand how it thinks?
And man, the debate is fierce on this. On one hand, you have proponents who argue that AI can process way more data than any human ever could. They say it can identify targets with much greater precision and actually avoid civilian casualties. But then the critics fire back, warning that if we rely too much on these systems, our soldiers' own skills will just decay, creating brand new and potentially fatal weaknesses that an enemy could exploit. You know, history is just full of examples of this exact thing. Remember, the US had total dominance in signals intelligence, so what did Al-Qaeda do? They switched to old-school paper couriers. Israeli sensors were state-of-the-art, so Hezbollah used simple fire suppression blankets to hide their missile sites. The lesson here is that a determined adversary can almost always find simple, low-tech ways to outsmart complex high-tech systems.
So, where does this all go from here? What happens to the very nature of combat when the algorithms themselves start to learn and adapt from every single engagement? While some military analysts are predicting a future where AI-enhanced weapons make things like camouflage and deception completely useless. Imagine an AI that's constantly scanning all the recon data, detecting the absolute slightest change. It would leave soldiers with literally no place to hide, as every single weapon on the battlefield learns and adapts in real time. This level of battlefield awareness is leading strategists to some wild concepts, like something they call Minotaur warfare. The name itself kind of evokes a hybrid beast, right? And that's exactly the idea. A central AI brain that's analyzing the entire battlefield and directing both human soldiers and robotic units with a speed that no human general could ever match. But, and this is a huge but, this creates an almost impossible challenge. How in the world do you train an AI to follow the laws of war when your enemy is deliberately breaking them? Right? What's an AI supposed to do when the bad guys start using civilian cars for attacks, or when they just ditch their uniforms to blend in with the local population? And all of that leaves us with the final and most critical question of all. As this technology just keeps accelerating, and we hand over more and more authority over life and death to these algorithms, we really have to ask ourselves, who or maybe what is ultimately in control?
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.